Welcome to Coach Bennett's podcast, where every run has a purpose, where kindness is hardcore, where this is about running, and this is not about running, where every starting line is a finish line in disguise, where rambling still gets you where you need to be, where pineapple will never ruin your pizza, and the sodas, adult and not adult kind, are always cold, and where there is room on the starting line for everybody. I'm Coach Bennett. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Let's get started. Welcome to episode 117 of Coach Bennett's podcast. This one is entitled All I Got. That's right, All I Got. And I'll tell you what, you've probably been waiting for this one. Why do I know you've been waiting for this one? Well, for the first time in well over 2 years, there was not a Coach Bennett's podcast that came out last week. So we went through 116 plus because there were a couple special episodes that were put out every single week. And I was super proud of that. Clockwork, baby. Wednesday night, Portland, Oregon time, I was dropping a new podcast. And for the first time since June of 2023, that was not the case. I didn't put one out. I wanted to put one out, but I couldn't put one out. And I just want to apologize for the delay, but here we are with episode 117, All I Got. And it's been a minute, but let me tell you about what's been going on during that minute. Over the last 2.5 weeks, traveled across the country twice. I've driven from the Jersey Shore to the Poconos and back. I've driven from New Jersey to D.C. and back. I've driven to New York City, I think 5 times back and forth from Jersey, delivering goods. I've made too many visits to storage units to count. I've dropped off with Coach Bennett the Greater, our youngest child, at her freshman year in college. We dropped off our middle child at her junior year in college. We've moved them in to their dorm rooms. We've met with my son, who's an EMT, trained to be a paramedic up in the Bronx. Dropped him off up in the Bronx. We've made 3 visits to emergency rooms over the past 2.5 weeks for loved ones. I've performed the Heimlich Maneuver at dinner. I've gotten sick for the first time in, well, at least at this level of sickness, for the first time in a decade. So I'm someone who just very luckily does not normally get sick, but I did. I attended a chemo session with a loved one. I'm pretty sure at one point that I had seen, if you had read the newsletter, I mentioned I'm pretty sure I saw the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but it was just members of the mounted unit of the NYPD in Central Park. And, you know, it's been a tough 2.5 weeks. On top of that, my 7-year plus running streak ended. So I think it was like 7 years, almost 3 months. And I don't know how many days that is, but that came and went. And then I started a 1-day streak and that ended. And then started another 1-day streak and that ended. And started another 1-day streak and that ended. Now I'm on a 2-day streak. And by the way, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek about the term streak, because I just want to say here, I didn't start the 7-year plus streak to start a streak. I started running to run consistently because running consistently really, really made a positive impact in my life. And if you've followed along with me over the years, I always said that, you know, if the streak ends, I'm going to have to be okay with that, because I wasn't running to run a streak. I was running to do a run that would have the day end as a better day. And the streak ended because it was like 12:35 in the morning, and I was just getting into bed, and I suddenly popped up, and Tammy said, What's going on? And I said, I didn't run today. And she said, well, can you go for a quick run? Thinking like, hey, like maybe there's some time. And I said, no, we're into the next day. The streak's over. And, it was, I think the impact of the streak being over was not, it wasn't devastating. I will say it's the one running thing I've done that I'm probably most proud of, not because I was grinding my way to keep the streak going. I think it was just a testament to how much I love running and how positive I view running is in my life. And that's why I was run every day. That's why I would find time to run at a minimum 5 minutes every day for 7 years plus. And I was proud of that. I was proud of the fact that I was able to do that for as long as I did. But I think I was also proud of the fact that, I came to terms with the fact that I love running as much as I do. So anyway, but long story short, because this is suddenly turning into a much longer story than I wanted, the streak ended too. And a lot's been going on. And I wrote a newsletter, Coach Bennett's newsletter, which you can find on Substack, about a week ago about this. And my hope was to then publish this podcast as well. But things came up and I wasn't able to put the podcast out when I wanted to put the podcast out. And the theme of the newsletter, which was going to be the theme of this podcast, was, but you're getting all I can give. And I had to come to terms with all of this stuff going on and feeling like I wasn't doing enough, feeling like I wasn't fulfilling all the obligations and responsibilities, and feeling like I was letting people down because I got sick, and feeling like I should be able to do more, and I should have been able to sneak in a run, and I should be helping out and getting that podcast out and getting another newsletter in and responding to more people on DMs that are asking me about marathon training, and I couldn't do it. And I realized I was doing everything I could do. And that's where I had to take some of my own medicine. And that's what the newsletter was about. And that's what this is going to be about. And it's not going to be the longest podcast episode. I don't think it's going to be the greatest podcast episode, but maybe it is. I don't know. It may be the most honest one I've done, because the reality is I needed to take my own medicine. I needed to listen to my own coaching. And whether it's, if you can't do the run you want to do the run you can do. This is about running. This is not about running. I had to deal with that. And I had to deal with the fact that I was doing what I could do. And that's enough. And I had to deal with the fact that when I tell all of you that when you're trying your best, you're at your best. And that's badass, because trying your best is badass. I had to listen to that as well. Not just say it to people. I had to believe it, which I do believe it. But if you're someone who is a teammate or a coach or a mentor or a friend, you find yourself oftentimes giving advice that you believe in, that you know is true, that is helpful, and sometimes you don't give it to yourself. And I had a couple days where I had to be giving myself the coaching that I often give to other people. I had to admit that I was beat up and tired and sleepy, and I was lacking focus, and I was a little ornery and not as motivated as I would like to be, and I could definitely use another shower. And I mentioned all this stuff in the newsletter, and I'm mentioning it again now because admitting those things is super important. I always tell you that the most important question a coach can ask an athlete is, how are you doing? And I had to be asking myself that, how are you doing? And the answer was usually not so good. And the day wasn't going to become a great day because I admitted I wasn't doing so good. But I can tell you there's a better opportunity, a better chance, a more likely outcome is that the day will be better than it would have been, because I'm being honest. I was tired, fatigued, worn out, stressed out. And I had to start by admitting that. And I was eventually sick. And I had to admit I was sick. And I was not at my best. I wasn't feeling good. And that was okay. I wasn't going to be able to do the things I could normally do when I wasn't sick. That's important. That's essential. And I had to ask for help. That was the other thing. I had to realize that I wasn't strong enough to do what I wanted to do. And if I could just admit I wasn't strong enough and ask for help with the things that needed to be done that couldn't be done by just me, then I was strong enough. Because if you're strong enough to admit you're not strong enough, and if you're strong enough to ask for help, then you're strong enough. And I was strong enough. And that's another thing to be proud of. And I'll tell you what, when things aren't going well, when you are run down, when you are beat down, to have the moments where you can say, you know what, I'm still proud of myself. That helps. We forget sometimes that recovery is how you get out of these things. Healing is how you get out of these things, whether it is injury or sickness, or you're down in the dumps, you're stressed out, you're fatigued, you're exhausted. You need to recover, you need to heal. If you want to aid your recovery and healing, what you need to do is be a good teammate to yourself, be a supportive friend to yourself, be a kind coach to yourself. That helps recovery. That helps healing. Too often, when we're not feeling good, too often, when we're down in the dumps, we then double down on being negative. We become cruel to ourselves. We pick ourselves apart. We tear ourselves down. That doesn't help you get better. And if you're thinking what you really want to do is not be so exhausted, not be so fatigued, not be so down, well, you're not helping. You're making things worse. So it doesn't help to be a jerk to yourself. It doesn't help to be unkind to yourself. It doesn't help to be cruel to yourself. It doesn't help to diminish the effort you're giving, even if the effort you're giving is not the same effort you could have given a couple days earlier when you were healthy or at 100% or 90% or 80%. But now you're at 40% or 30%. I'll tell you what, there are a couple days there where I'm thinking, man, I'm at like 15%. But you know what? I wasn't beating myself up, which is why I think I feel better now, which is why I'm more rested than I was, which is why I'm a little bit healthier than I was, which is why I'm a little bit stronger than I was, because I was a good teammate to myself, and I did ask for help. And I'll tell you what, you find that the people around you want to help. Okay, here's a little ramble here, but it's important. Sometimes when you need help, the person that benefits the most is the person helping you. I'll give you an example. I don't feel good, right? I need some help. I can ask one of my kids, hey, guess what? I don't feel good. I'm having trouble doing this. Could you help me with this? The opportunity to help a parent or a sibling or a loved one or a friend feels good, and it gives you purpose. It validates the reason why you're on this planet. And really, we're on this planet to live the best lives we can live and to help others do the same. So when you ask someone for help, you get help. But that person helping you feels so good. They get something great out of helping. So remember, sometimes, oftentimes, maybe almost all the time, when you ask someone for help, you not only get help, you are helping them. Okay? Because I'll tell you what, if you're not in a good place, one thing you can do to help get you out of that not so good place is to find someone who needs help and help them. And in doing so, you will be helping yourself. Okay? And I was able to do that. And I was able to see the joy people had in actually helping me. When I posted the newsletter, the amount of comments so many of you sent me saying, thank you, get better, take your time, we got you. Let me just tell you, I read all of them. I appreciated all of them. And they helped. I am in a better place today because of everything all of you wrote and said yesterday and the day before and still today. So thank you. And that's the episode. Like I said, it's not the longest one, but I'm going to be back putting up another episode next week. And is it going to be longer? Yeah. Is it going to be closer to a normal one? Yes. Is it going to be 35 or 45 minutes and have some stupid jokes and more rambles and go into a little bit more depth? Absolutely. Because by that point, I'll be able to do it. Right now, this is all I got. I hope it's enough because it's the best I can do. And I just want to say thank you to everyone, because part of me getting better was I wanted to get better. And part of the reason why I wanted to get better was because I wanted to help all of you get better. So thank you, because helping all of you helps me. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. And I'll meet you on that next starting line. Thank you so much for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast today. And if you haven't already subscribed or set yourself as a follower to the podcast, I really hope you would. And make sure you check out the show notes, because in those show notes, you're going to find a link to Coach Bennett's newsletter and all the social media sites I'm on, like Instagram and Threads and Cameo and Blue Sky and Nope, not on that one anymore. So all the ones I am on, you're going to find it in the show notes, so check that out as well. And as always, thank you again for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast. Until next time, you keep taking care of yourself and each other.